Om Tavakatamratam Taptajivanam Kavivirididam Kalmashapaham Sharavanamangalam Shrimadatadam Bhuvigananti Huriyajana. Your words are like nectar, bringing life to scorched souls. They are praised by poets and remove all sin. They are auspicious to hear, wonderful and exalted. Those who spread these words throughout the world are truly giving souls. Welcome, everyone, to our class, Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. We have been on this is chapter M at Dakshineswar, and this is page 354, and the date is Saturday, December 22nd, 1883. And you'll remember that this is the long stay that M has at Dakshineswar with Sri Ramakrishna. It's now been over a week, and it'll continue in the room with Sri Ramakrishna were Rakal, Harish, M, and Latu. And Rakal, Harish, and Latu are more or less permanent residents at this point. And M, of course, has this one long stay. And then Balaram's father and Devendra Ghosh of Shampakur, they also arrived. The question that came before this was, has God form or is he formless? And we don't know who asked it. It simply says a devotee. So we had started there. And now we get to Kabir was a worshipper of the impersonal God. He did not believe in Shiva, Kali, or Krishna. He used to make fun of them and say that Kali lived on the offerings of rice and bananas, and that Krishna danced like a monkey with the when the gopis clapped their hands. All laugh. One who worships God without form perhaps sees at first the deity with 10 arms, then the deity with 4 arms, then the baby Krishna with 2 arms. At last he sees the indivisible light and merges in it. This is one who worships God without form. I don't know why he says that. Huh? Should be with form. Huh? Yeah. I wonder, do you have the Bengali there? After Kabir was a worshipper of the impersonal God. Yeah. After that, yeah. Huh. Okay, Nirakar Sadhu. I don't know why he says it. Huh? A little bit surprising. Those who worship God without form. Anybody have any ideas? Right?
Maybe they will start seeing the deity as in a form after they realize that.
Maybe. I hadn't noticed this before. Nirakar. Yeah. So it's the translation is right. And Thakur often uses this illustration, not so much whether it's worshiper of impersonal or, but that the closer we get, the more intimate the relationship becomes, and the less the Aishwarya, this external manifestation of power and everything, that becomes less and less as the relationship becomes more intimate. Now, it doesn't mean that somebody who's a worshiper of Durga will end up taking the attitude of Mother Yashoda to the baby Krishna. It doesn't mean that it'll always take that form, but that the relationship will become sweeter and more intimate. It is said that sages like Dattatreya and Jadabharata did not return to the relative plane after having the vision of Brahman. According to some people, Shukadeva tasted only a drop of that ocean of Brahman consciousness. He saw and heard the rumbling of the waves of that ocean, but he did not dive into it. A brahmachari once said to me, one who goes beyond Kedar cannot keep his body alive. Likewise, a man cannot preserve his body after attaining Brahmajnana. The body drops off in 21 days. Then there's a footnote. In the case of an ordinary aspirant, the body drops off after he attains the knowledge of Brahman. But this is not so in the case of a divine incarnation, because he is born with a special mission to teach mankind. Now, this is all very strange, huh? That we have to make a distinction here between somehow God realization, somehow attaining to the state of Jivanmukta, and what they're talking about here as Brahmajnana. This is Brahmajnana. It almost sounds as if Sri Ramakrishna is talking about this Nirvikalpa Samadhi, because this is the state from which very few can return, that the mind gets so immersed and there's no sense of self, there's no individual awareness to bring the mind back down. And unless there's some special reason, then that merging will remain. Now, Brahmajnana, we know that there are many Brahmajnanis that are not divine incarnations, that can have that knowledge of Brahman and can live in the world as free souls. Then Sri Ramakrishna accepts this idea of Jivanmukta, that there are those who can attain liberation and continue to live in the world. So this Brahmajnana that he's talking about here has to be something, the ordinary reaching of the roof. These are all very mysterious things. We don't know how this works. It seems like Thakur always talks about this, drinking a few drops of water, and whether we dive into the ocean or going up to the roof, that can we go up to the roof, remain on that rung, look over, have our realization, come back down? Can we go up and dance a little bit, come back down? Can we stay there a little bit? If we stayed a little too long, will we jump over? These are all depending upon so many factors that we don't really understand. What is the degree of spiritual power that somebody has? What type of karma is there? Thakur gives so many illustrations that sometimes we'll go and have that type of realization, but our karma will pull us back down again. Some may keep a desire to work for others. That'll allow them to bring the mind back down again. But this Brahmajnana that he's talking about has to be something very rare and very special. And if we want to tie it in with this theory of prarabdha karma, that this is something that someone will not get until the very end of their life. And this will be the way that they leave this world in that state of Brahmajnana. Even whether the body is there 21 days or 2 days or 100 days makes no difference at that point. But the impression that we get sometimes is that God realization means that we'll give up the body. It doesn't mean that. And there may be other ways of attaining to that state of Jivanmukta, freedom in this lifetime, that Thakur is not calling Brahmajnana. Maybe he'll just he uses the term Ishwar Labh very often. This God, attainment of God realization. He'll never say that the goal of life is God realization, then you die in 21 days. We don't get that idea.
Says in one place that egolessness is Jivanmukta.
So there may be many different ways of attaining this state of freedom while living, this complete ripening of the ego, getting rid of this unripe ego, loosening our bonds. The Upanishads, of course, they talk about this karma getting burned.